Hey guys, if you're tired or have headaches quite commonly, this video is going to be for you. You might simply just be low on sodium. You might not be consuming enough salt. What does that mean? What is salt and sodium? So when we say salt, that means 40% of that is sodium. 5 grams of salt is not the same as 5 grams of sodium. Quite different. Keep that in mind when you are measuring out or trying to, when someone says, oh, I had a couple grams of salt, so this has a gram of salt, understand that that's 40% of that is going to be sodium. The rest is other trace minerals, chloride, etc. Recent studies suggest, and one will be linked here below, is that we should be consuming closer to basically 3 to 5 grams of sodium a day. So 3 to 5 grams of sodium is equal to about 8 to 12 grams of salt. A teaspoon of salt is going to equal about 2,300 milligrams of sodium, which is the general recommended amount. Like I said, it's starting to come out that really 3 to 5 grams is more optimal. This also increases based on how much exercise you're doing, your climate, and how much caffeine you consume. That's another thing. You might be having enough sodium in your regular diet, but then you're drinking 3-4 cups of coffee. Now you're not actually having enough. Something to remember that by is every cup of coffee is 300 milligrams of sodium depleted. Okay. If you have 3 cups of coffee, you're going to want nearly a gram more of sodium, right? A gram being 1,000 milligrams. Another thing to remember is when you exercise, so for every about roughly hour of hard exercise, okay, so taking a light walk doesn't qualify for this, but if you're in the gym or if you're playing sports outside, sweating a lot, if you're in Florida where I am, or in Costa Rica or some hot climate, this is going to be definitely an important thing to track and be aware of, but you could be needing as much as 2 grams more for that hour of exercise. How I like to address this problem is I simply have in my pre-workout meal, whether it's an hour or 2 before I'm going to train, I will add or make sure I'm getting at least a gram, 1,000 milligrams of sodium in that meal. The reason this is important or recommended by me, and something that I do pretty much every time I train, is because this is going to increase my pump. This is going to increase my hydration for my workout, prevent cramp, prevent fatigue. It just improves the performance of your training, and there's a lot of studies and empirical evidence of that being documented over many years. All powerlifters and pro athletes and things will know this little tip and trick. Load up on your sodium in your pre-workout meal to increase performance. And then I always make sure to have roughly a gram of sodium post-workout. This will ensure that my recovery is optimal, mainly through the pathway of hydration, right? So sodium brings that water into the cell. This is very important to make sure we don't cramp up, that we put all the water we need into the muscles. If you're taking creatine or anything like that, this is going to be important to help shuttle that in, okay? Carbs post-workout, again, you want that sodium to really work with all of those other substances. I like to avoid high salt, high sodium during my training because I can get a little bloated. It can kind of disrupt my stomach a bit. Now, does not apply if you're a marathon runner or you're running for many hours. That's a little bit of a different story. You're going to have some sodium throughout that training period. But if we're talking about going to the gym for an hour, playing sports for an hour, hour and a half, I do my sodium on either end. And I like to drink other electrolytes, potassium, and my essential amino acids during my training. Keep that energy going, feeling good, and start the recovery process. Then I have the rest of the sodium requirements. Post-exercise, drink a lot more water to make sure to recover any weight loss during training. You need to make sure you drink at least that amount of water post-exercise with that sodium. And so the last thing I want to talk about regarding sodium, when people start to eat clean, okay, and what I mean by that is cutting out the processed foods. Processed foods contain a tremendous amount of sodium. That's how they preserve it, right? You're going to have quite a drop in your sodium levels, and unless you replace this with high quality salt by salting your food, by salting your meals, particularly your meat and veggies, avocado would be a good fruit to salt. If you don't do this, you will be dehydrated. You will be low sodium. You won't feel optimal. You could get lethargic. That is actually one of the most common things. Oh, I've cut out the carbs, I cut out the bread, I feel tired. It's because I'm not having bread. No, it's because you're not having enough sodium and or electrolytes. A good electrolyte supplement plug amino hydrate. Obviously, I love this. I take this every day, 2-3 scoops. But also, I tell all of my clients, and what I do is I always salt my meals, particularly my pre and post workout meals. I extra salt them with a good pink Himalayan or gray salt, whatever you decide. This will ensure that your energy levels are optimal. And so to recap, it's 3 to 5 grams of sodium per day, additional 1 to 2 grams for every hour of exercise. Add that extra sodium in your pre and post workout, split it up, and then for every cup of coffee, add an additional 300 milligrams of sodium. I hope this helps. Share this with anyone who's either started to eat clean, make sure they're getting enough sodium. Anyone who has kind of common and persistent headaches, it might simply be low sodium. Like, subscribe, share. Check out my electrolyte and amino acid product if you want something for your workouts. And thank you for watching.